Good afternoon. As always, I'll start with a quick synopsis of the last performance or game or significant components of it. It was a big win for us. We got significant contributions in all three phases. We had lapses in all three phases, like you do in every game, but I thought, the positives far outweighed the negatives, particularly in a complementary sort of way of the other phases of our team. And that's what produced victory. The offense started fast, and I thought that was significant for us as a football team. We won the toss. We were able to go down the field. I think we went down the field the first couple of times. We had the ball, and that was significant. We were able to drive the ball and produce a field goal late in the game offensively. I thought that was significant. Obviously, we got to work to continue to maintain possession of the ball and safeguard the ball. We had a couple turnovers, but we knew that was possible playing a formidable bunch like that, particularly with the veteran presence that they had in the secondary and the things that they were able to get done in an environment such as that. On the defensive side of the ball, I thought we responded to the turnovers very well and played really good sudden change football. Obviously, we stood up on a couple of short fields and made the necessary plays. I thought we were able to absorb some negativity early and find our rhythm. I can't say enough about our ability to communicate. Oftentimes when you're at Heinz Field, you think about the issues that there are for your opponent from a communication standpoint, but you have those same issues defensively. And I can't say enough about Vince Williams and what he was able to do in terms of being a central communicator for us throughout the game. It allowed us to settle in and be able to match some of the pace things that they do and things that they do very well. I thought communication was an element of that performance. And then in the special teams game, I thought we did a good job of neutralizing their dangerous return men, whether it was Patterson in the kickoff return game or Edelman in the punt game. They thought they were capable of being explosive in those areas. We didn't allow that to happen. And then obviously we made a significant field goal there late in the game. So positive things to build upon as we move forward. We're going to need to, obviously, with this next challenge. On the injury front, Cam Hayward had a hyperextended knee. He was able to go back in the game. Bud Dupree had knee contusion that really limited his effectiveness. We'll watch him participate during the week and let his participation be our guide, but fully expect him to be a participant this weekend. Edmonds Terrell is in the concussion protocol. Don't have a lot of information there. Oftentimes guys may show up on Monday morning or what have you with symptoms, and we address it in an appropriate and professional manner. Pre-existing injuries, James Conner with his ankle, I saw him downstairs getting rehab just a few moments ago. Hopefully that sets the stage for a productive Wednesday, and we'll go on from there. And we'll let the amount of work that he's able to do and the effectiveness of that work be our guide, and we'll make those decisions at the appropriate time as we push toward game time. In regards to this week, we're excited about this opportunity. We understand that we're playing a really good football team. We're playing a really good football team in their venue. We don't run away from that. We understand what time of year it is, and if you have the intentions that we have, you need forks in the road such as this. They're a really good bunch. I'll start first on their defense. When I look at their defense, I just think about a lot of homegrown talent, guys that they've drafted and developed. You can start up front with Jordan and Rankin, former first-rounders that they've drafted and developed and have become Pro Bowl caliber players for them as an interior rushman and an edge rushman. And, those guys set the pace of the wave that others ride. Together, collectively, they have over 20 sacks. They're extremely disruptive both versus the run and the pass. They've added to that tandem most recently with a first-rounder out of UTSA who's produced some sacks and some sack fumble-like plays. His length is difficult is a difficult thing to deal with, but like a lot of 4-3 teams, it's just not about those three men. They play a bunch of people up front. They keep them fresh. They get after your passer. They trample the run on the way to the pass. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that they're, number one in football versus the run. Part of that obviously is being a 12-2 football team. I understand that, having leads and so forth, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that they're number 2 in the league versus the run in terms of yards per carry. So they're probably not getting a lot of carries because of the nature of the game or the circumstances that they're in, but you better acknowledge that they're just formidable at stopping and run, period, because the yards per carry illustrate that as well. In the secondary, again, a lot of homegrown talent. Lattimore, Williams, both Williams at safety and Williams at nickel. They supplemented that with Eli Apple. I think he's been a quality acquisition for them. But a bunch of top-notch talent, man, first-round caliber-like guys, guys that are capable of playing aggressive and playing tight man-to-man, playing the ball down the field. I think one of the things that has allowed them to go on the stretch run that they have defensively over the last 5 or 6 weeks where they're really getting after people is they've gotten the ball, and they've gotten the ball in a variety of ways. The way that they were able to punch that ball out, Von Bell, from that Carolina Panther runner last night was reflective of how they've been playing really over the course of that span. I've seen them punch the ball out of several Atlanta Falcons receivers. I've seen them punch the ball away from Minnesota Vikings receivers in recent weeks on tape. They're a very ball-aware group. Obviously, they're capable of catching the ball and intercepting it, but there's just general ball awareness in terms of punching it and hunting it has really been an asset to them. It's allowed them to make the necessary splash plays to control games and keep the score down. At the linebacker level, Davis is a savvy veteran that's been around. We've seen him in New York. We've seen him in Cleveland. He's an all-downs and situations player. He's good in man coverage. He's a good blitzer. I thought he had some really significant blitz opportunities last night against Carolina. He's somebody that we have to reckon with. Obviously, we gave up a big blitz against New England, got a quarterback hit. We got a young back there. We understand all of those things, and so he's got to answer that. He's got to answer that challenge. On the other side of the ball, it rolls through Drew Brees, and obviously his unique resume and experience and continuity that he has within their offensive structure with Coach Payton is something to deal with. It allows them to move in and out of personnel groups with tremendous pace. It allows them to attack you in a variety of ways. I'm sure he has a lot of autonomy at the line of scrimmage. I'm sure in his home venue that'll be significant. Their last 3 games they've been on the road. I'm sure they're excited about getting back in their home venue to deal with that group in their venue or something. The relationship he's developed with Mike Thomas has been really extraordinary. Kamara is an asset to him in the running game and in the passing game. You can spend a lot of time talking about their passing game because of Drew and the relationship he has with Coach Payton and what they've been able to do over the years, and Michael Thomas and his growth and development, the type of impact receiver that he is, and Kamara, the things that he's able to do in the passing game. But the reality is that this is a really strong, fundamental running team. And I think that was on display last night as well. Their running back tandem of Ingram and Kamara is a formidable one. You look at one guy individually, and maybe the stats don't jump off the stat sheet at you, but do the math. You add their contributions up, and that is tremendous production from the tailback position in the running game and in the passing game in their offense. And they utilize a variety of people and schemes. They challenge you in a lot of ways, 3 backs, 2 backs, 1 back. We're looking forward to the challenge, though. We just got a big week in front of us in terms of preparing and putting ourselves in position to play. We got to acknowledge that environment is part of the preparation process. It creates challenges for us offensively. You got to respect the fact that they're in their environment as you prepare to play them defensively. And in the special teams game, man, they got a really rock-solid unit and capable of making plays. Their return game is capable of being dynamic. Obviously, Kamara is an element of that. So there's a lot to be excited and on edge about as we prepare, and I'm sure we will be when the players get in here tomorrow, and we are as a staff as we prepare here today. Questions?
Mike, I believe it was one of the Patriots backs said that y'all were a team that was spinning the wheel defensively week to week. What does that look like or mean on your end?
Again, I don't know what he meant by that, so I don't necessarily have the answer that maybe you're hunting. I know that, week in and week out, we game plan to try to meet the needs of the moment. And sometimes those moments and needs are different based on who you play.
Mike, you didn't mention Ben. Is his ribs okay now?
Yes, I just talked to him right before I came in here. No worse for the wear, no negative consequences from this past week's performance.
Coach, last week Eli Rogers and James Washington had a solid show on offense. Can you talk about their development, one, and then two, do you foresee them getting more reps against the Saints this week?
Been pleased with the growth and development of young people, and sometimes just the journey reveals that growth and development. Sometimes that growth and development doesn't have an opportunity to be revealed, but sometimes just by the nature of the journey itself, injury and so forth, and those guys are examples of that. James has had an opportunity to continue to ascend, probably due to the unfortunate circumstances regarding Justin Hunter. And Eli's, has been missing some because of football. He got hurt late last year and spent the entire offseason rehabilitating in the vast majority of the early parts of this season, working to get well. He's been working in recent weeks, and Sunday was the first time for him to have an opportunity to contribute, and we appreciated his contributions, and I know he's excited about continuing to get back to work, to continue to knock the rust off, to continue to find ways to be a positive contributor to our efforts. And I think the same probably could be said about James. He's getting an opportunity to make some plays and be a positive contributor to our efforts, and I'm sure that's a good thing, one that I'm sure he's concerned about continuing.
What have you seen from Juju this year that shows you he's built upon some of the things he laid as a foundation?
Just the overall consistency in his performance has been better this year, but that's not a bold statement. We expect the overall consistency of all second-year players to follow that line. I could say the same thing about T.J. Watt, for instance. I could say the same about James Conner. Those guys that have been a part of our program, that particularly those that had an opportunity to contribute as young people and be the type of component of the unit that Juju was, is reasonable to expect them to use that as a springboard as they move forward into their second year. And he's done that and continues to do that and continues to work to improve in all aspects of his game and grow in terms of understanding of the game. And I think all of those things help him in terms of being a more consistent asset to us.
Mike, does the tape reflect what some of the statistical rankings would indicate about New Orleans defense in the sense of how high they are ranked rush defense-wise and lower third in the pass, or is that merely a product of people trying to play catch-up and having to abandon the run against them on many occasions?
You can always, shape those stories however you want. Again, I think the yards per carry speaks to the dominance of their run defense. They're number 2 in the league in terms of yards per carry. So forget the number of runs, forget the game circumstance, ahead, behind, the nature of that. When people choose to run it, they're number 2 in the league in terms of yards per carry. So they're run game dominant. They're a 12-2 football team, so they've been up on some people. So that creates an environment, a reasonable environment where some of the other things that you mentioned may occur.
Offensively, they seem to be so much more dynamic at home. Is that, again, something that you would pay attention to more on home tape versus road tape, or were you going to look at large chunks of what they do on the road too?
I look at what they're capable of and forget how they've played. They're capable of being dominant regardless of venue. We happen to be playing them at home. We understand that. We understand that they're a formidable bunch in any venue, but particularly at home.
Coach, in the past when you went on losing streaks, you were able to correct the problems and go on winning streaks. Do you have a sense that this may be where you're heading?
Again, I'm not trying to shape it. I'm just trying to live it. We got a big game this week. We're readying ourselves for that. I'll leave the rest of that stuff, to you guys.
What did you tell the team going into this week to motivate them?
Which week?
This week into the game, last game against the Patriots.
Man, I told them a myriad of things, man. We don't have enough time to shape our dialogue, but it was a normal week in a lot of ways in terms of the amount of communication, the depth of the communication, and the things that we talked about.
When you have an opponent that's a non-conference opponent this late in the season where you've had so many common foes that you've played this year. How valuable is that? How much do you put stock into the outcomes?
I think anybody you play late in the year, everybody's got a lot of tape out there. And so, it's the same for all of us. They've got a lot of tape out there. We've got a lot of tape out there. We've got a lot of common opponents to glean information from. They've got a lot of common opponents to glean information from. I think that's probably one of the reasons why these games are so tight late in the year, and you may be surprised at times maybe by the score. You may have been surprised by Monday night score. You may have been surprised by our Sunday evening score, but the reality is there's a lot of video out there, and preparation is an element of it, and but both sides get an opportunity to prepare. So from that standpoint, the playing field is very level, and these are big, exciting games.
Is that something you anticipated early in the year when there were maybe some shootouts that it would even out?
I stay away from anticipation, man. I'm just living week to week and trying to do what's required to win that game, and not paint with a broad brush. You can do some of that analysis and gain that type of understanding at the appropriate time when you're in the off season.
Mike, what do you appreciate about Vince Williams in the way he's adjusted with his role, not just this year, but in his time here?
In what way? I'm sorry.
Just his entire moving with the ways his roles have changed in his time in the state.
His maturation process is a very normal one. He's a guy that was a later round draft pick, a non-combine invite, who earned his stripes on special teams in the early years and got an opportunity to play some as a young guy due to circumstance, but then had to fall back into a supportive role. And really, he just never stopped working along the way, and I think that's allowed him to ascend within our group and be ready for the challenges that we push his way, whether it's central communication or leadership or setting of defenses and things of that nature. He's been here a decent amount of time. He's a guy that works his tail off to grow in all areas, and so he's continually putting himself in position to meet the challenges that the game and his career has put in front of him.
Mike, you satisfied enough with what Boswell did to be no issue this week?
I'm not into that satisfaction word. We're ready to move forward this week.
With Boswell?
Yes.
Samuels had never had that many carries at any level. What gave you confidence he could shoulder that load?
Who said I had confidence? He was our back, and he was prepared, and so we went into the stadium. There's oftentimes when you walk into a stadium, particularly as a young guy, it is a first time for a lot of things. And I'm sure as he continues to step into stadiums with a significant role for us, he'll check some boxes and do some things that he hadn't done before. But that's just a very natural thing in terms of a young player's career.
Was the counter toss stuff something that you thought would suit his skill set, or was that more something you saw the Patriots were doing?
It's within our framework of offense. We've run that play regardless of who's at running back for us.
Coach, last week, especially with football being a chess match of sorts, last week against the Patriots, you kept Tom Brady off balance. Can you talk about how you were able to do that? And then, of course, you're going against another elite quarterback in the league this week.
No bold statements regarding how we were able to keep him off balance. I don't even know that to be true. I know we made enough plays to win the game. We better do the same this week.
Mike, Drew Brees and Sean Payton have been together over a decade. You've been with Ben for over a decade. What's the key to a successful quarterback-coach marriage?
Win games.
That simple. There's nothing else.
You're not together for over a decade if you don't. That's just how it goes. The coach and the quarterback get run out of town.
Mike, does there come a point in the season for a guy like a rookie season for a guy like Edmonds who played a lot that you don't view him as a rookie and you have maybe higher expectations?
You can get into that little cute wordplay if you want and motivate guys to play beyond their years, or you can use it as an excuse. The bottom line is we've been playing with a lot of ball with him all year, and we expect him to play above the line, winning football, like the other guys that have been on the field a lot. He is who he is. He is a rookie. He still is a rookie. He'll be a rookie all year and into the playoffs if that's a part of his story. But he's done a good job. He's gotten better every week. He's continuing to gain detail and understanding in his play along with the other guys who are getting an opportunity to contribute, and that's where our focus is.
Mike, you're in a tight division race. Will you watch Baltimore Saturday night?
I didn't even know they played Saturday night until you just told me. So that tells you where I'm at.
Mike, you mentioned that as the season progressed, a lot of tape has been exposed of teams, and that might have been indicative of Monday night's score. Can you speak on maybe what exactly you noticed the Panthers do on Monday night to control the Saints, breeze a little bit off?
I'm not getting into that. I just appreciated the competitiveness of the game. It was division play, and then obviously they're going to play them again here, I think, next week.
Like this time against the Patriots is unique in the sense that when you've played them in the last 3 years, it's either decided the season in the playoffs or it's decided seeding in the postseason. In this case, there's a lot more to be written here. Do you think your guys rediscovered or discovered anything specific about their execution? Did you discover anything schematically that you can use moving forward coming off of that?
Time will tell. Words are just that, words. We'll let our tape be our storyteller. You waste a lot of time making bold statements and predictions and looking for synergy and rhythm and things of that nature. The bottom line is we got to consistently step into stadiums and produce winning performance when the ball snaps. And so we'll wait for the ball to snap.
What went into the decision to take the ball on Sunday as opposed
We didn't want to give it to Brady.
It's fair to say you wouldn't want to give it to Breeze then either?
We'll see.
Anyone else? Mike, with Gilbert officially out, how would you evaluate how Filer has played for you?
Man, it's been varsity. It's been above the line.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you, guys.